thanks for stopping to smell the damn roses. And today we have Erin Barreto with us.
Hello.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am originally from Sullivan County, but I moved to Kingston, and my thing that I like to do in my spare time is basically do crafting and drawing, and I've been doing this for about, 15, 16 years.
It's a good chunk of time.
Had a lot of adventures.
Let's talk about some of your adventures.
I first started getting into it when I was around middle school.
Mm-hmm.
I had made a really good dear friend who was obsessed with anime and manga and quickly got me involved into anime and manga. And we would spend almost all day in school and like all night just drawing and, getting really good. And it's amazing how quickly I got really good. It was looking professional grade. And I was like, yes. So we ended up, me and a couple of other friends who were, all drawing, we ended up going to college together, but, our lives took different paths.
Yes, they did.
I had, as, we grew apart, my enthusiasm for drawing really went downhill. And I just thought it was because I didn't have anybody to really do this artwork with. So I went out and explored other craft projects and things, and I really wasn't latching on to them. So I tried going back to drawing, and that wasn't happening either. And just finally, I just happened to go to a doctor, and he was telling him about it, and he said, well, you sound like you're depressed. And that's a word that I really didn't grow up knowing a lot about. So I was like, oh, depression, maybe it'll pass. And he's like, sometimes it passes, sometimes it doesn't. He's like, it's something that you really have to pay attention to, and you have to really get to know yourself. And I realized it felt like a fixture. I had maybe always been depressed, and I just didn't know what it was like to not be depressed. And knowing and learning and getting used to the idea of depression made me more depressed. So I started doing things like getting involved with eating, and I had ballooned up to almost 400 pounds. And I just couldn't, the heavier you are, the more susceptible you are to depression, which I found out the hard way. And, knowing I have other conditions like polycystic ovarian syndrome does not help with depression.
Do you want to explain what that is?
Polycystic ovarian syndrome is basically you're susceptible to getting cysts on your uterus, and it makes childbirth a little hard to conceive. It makes you much more susceptible to diabetes because you are insulin resistant. And those are just the big things. And one of the bigger things is weight. If you're not losing weight, you're gaining weight. So a lot of people with PCOS tend to gain a whole lot of weight because it's just the nature of what it is. So I had gotten into depression and everything, and talking to doctors, and they finally were able to make a golden thread of, well, you have had PCOS, that tends to give you depression, that tends to make your weight go up, that tends to do all this. So it was really, really kind of scary because I had to struggle with just my life being flipped upside down, and just from one little thing.
Yes, yeah, one little thing could definitely do something like that. So how did you what was the things that you used to get yourself sort of back to where you wanted to be?
At the time when I was pretty at my lowest point, I had happened to just decide that I want to get out and socialize more just because I'm just so tired of this. And I was doing online dating, and I happened to have met my husband then, and just hitting it off with him was enough to just, you know, make me get out of it, because he's like, well, what are you into? And I'm like, I don't know, eating. I'm like, no guy wants to hear that. I do drawing. And he's like, you do? What do you do? And he was just like so interested in that I'm like, I probably should really get back into drawing, so I'm not like, I lied, I haven't drawn in like 5-6 years. So I started drawing, and really just, you know, getting back into it after so long. Like, it was just like when I first started in middle school. I mean, like, when I was first in college, my pictures were so good. I had Disney actually say like, hey, you want to do these like internships or whatever, and at the end of it you can be like a professional working on like projects at the time. And at the time it was like Phineas and Ferb, and The Princess and the Frog was coming out, and they were like, oh yeah, you could work on those if you know, join our project. And I was like, I loved drawing, and I was like, oh, I should totally do that, but another life got in the way, kind of thing.
It's unfortunate, but yeah, sometimes that happens.
But you know, starting over again, it just really rekindled everything. And I remember like the first drawing that I did was this big canvas of Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, and he was dressed as Elvis, because my husband loves Elvis, he loves Hawaiian shirts, he loves Lilo and Stitch. So I drew this for him for his birthday, and he was like so blown away. Like, I had just handed him an original Picasso, and I'm like, you are ridiculous. Why are you so into this? So then he would like show it off. He's like, look, I got a girlfriend and she painted this for me. And it just really inspired me to keep going. And I would just make him pictures like every birthday, and like make him little doodles, and he kept all of them. And I'm like, this is like nothing. And then he just was like, I want to hang this where everyone can see it. And it's just I still do that sometimes. Sometimes I'll just like draw a nose on a piece of paper and be like, voila, look. Give it 5 years, it'll be worth $1,000.
It's a special nose.
So yeah, it's just he was really supportive of me. I was very fortunate to find that someone who knew I was struggling on some level, didn't want to know the details of it, and was just like, keep going. If not for you, then for me. And
it's good to have that, like, that support system in place for yourself when you're going through things, so you could, you know, lean on other people.
And it was so scary, because a lot of times, you know, I have a lot of friends, like a lot of people, who have depression and anxiety, and they just need that one person to just reach out and kind of help them get balanced again. And having my husband Fred be in there, it was amazing, because I was like, there have been times in my life where he's been stronger than any medication I've ever taken, and he's just encouraged me to do the simplest things, and has knocked me out of my depression like instantaneously. So it, you know, being so just taken aback by the power of just a simple, you know, comment from a human being is what really drives me to stay in the field that I work in, which is mental health.
Yes.
Because no matter what your mental health problem is, just having a person say the right thing at the right time can make your life do a complete 180.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, because of him, I was able to lose almost 100 pounds.
Heck yeah.
Like, actually more than 100 pounds now that I think about it. And, you know, I've been drawing for him, I've been crocheting for him, I've been knitting for him, and it's all for him. All because he just made a sincere comment at me one day of like,
Just
really?
letting you be you?
Yeah, this not being so it was not an expected reaction, and it was genuine, and it was just the best feeling in the world to just have that.
That's lovely. Well, let's talk more about your art, your knitting, your crocheting.
Well, I started all of this with drawing anime and manga. When I started getting back into it, I decided I don't want to do that forever. You know, it's still connected to some of my friends. They've moved past it. So I'm like, maybe I do too. So I started looking at the different styles, especially a really big one was Disney, because especially, you know, in the golden age of all the Disney movies, each Disney movie has its own style.
Yes.
And if you pay attention, it's really interesting to mimic. Like, one of the big things in Lilo and Stitch is that even in like backgrounds, there's a bit of a roundedness to everything. And like, say in Hercules, it's more of a square box with this spiral pattern in it. And so seeing all that and playing with it and doing it really helped me design my own style, and, you know, seeing what I like and what I don't like. And as I discovered my own style of drawing, you kind of put yourself in there. So I've drawn like characters that are very body positive, that are very exciting. Like my favorite thing to do is draw girls with afros, because I love my afro. So I wanted that in my artwork, of just having that wispiness and that, you know, poof to it. So a lot of my favorite drawings and things that I've been drawing recently have that attitude to it. And you know, if I ever needed like inspiration, or I just didn't feel like drawing, sometimes just doing something else to just relieve my mind of, oh goodness, I need some sort of a inspiration. Muses, come find me. Sometimes found some of it in yarn. Like, you know, they say that there is a scientific positiveness to doing knitting and crocheting. It activates your frontal lobe and really gets you active, and, you know, creativity. So I started doing that. And then I started doing just simple scarves. And then it evolved into doing, you know, baby clothes, because everybody likes, you know, little tiny clothes. I see, especially babies. Babies like clothes. So I started doing baby clothes. And then from there, I was like, you know what goes good with baby clothes? Little baby like toys. So I started doing little baby toys. And then that just spiraled off into something else. And I'm like, oh wait, I was supposed to go back to drawing. So then I'll do some drawing. And it's just, everything just kind of connects and weaves in and out in just such a magnificent way. And I'm never short on creative things to do.
Excellent.
And that's what's been keeping me really happy for at least the past 8 years.
That's wonderful. Let's talk about some of your projects.
Currently, in my job, they would like me to teach other people how to knit and crochet. So I'm really excited to do that, because it's just like
fun.
It's so exciting. Oh my gosh. So I plan on teaching them how to do things, because you know, holidays are going to start coming up when my classes first start. I'm going to teach them how to do like Santa hats, just to give themselves that cheer. And they don't necessarily have to be Santa hats. Sometimes they can be, you know, the bah humbug ones where they're just black. I mean, you know, you don't have to be cheerful.
Grinch hats.
They can be unicorn hats, and I want to teach people how to crochet unicorns, something that they love. I want to bring in them into it. So I wanted, like, my project is to kind of get myself to be really versatile and really listen to people and come up with really good ways for them to put what they love and what they're going to do, because that's how I got started. I found someone who made me want to put myself in there, because apparently I'm an interesting person.
I think so. I enjoy your company. So you want to tell the audience about this sandwich?
My husband has got to be my favorite source of inspiration from time to time. But there was one point in time where nothing was being created. I was like, I don't know what to do. So I turned to him and I literally said, I don't know what to do. And just a smart alecky comment of, knit me a sandwich. And I'm like, really? Really? We're going to go there? And he like kind of caught himself and was like, oh. And I'm like, all right, I call your bluff. So I just disappeared and didn't talk to him for like maybe about a week. I made this sandwich. Like I made like bread and onions and meat and cheese and bacon, and I was like, I have to give this to him, but in a spectacular way. So it was Christmas time, around Christmas time, and I managed to take all the pieces and make it into a scarf. So I put the sandwich just in this nice little box and I gave it to him and I said, do you remember weeks ago you told me to knit you a sandwich? And you see his face go pale and I'm like, Merry Christmas. And he opens it and he's just like floored. He's like, you really knit me a sandwich? I'm like, yes, I did. And it's a scarf. And he's just like, I love it. I love it. And he's just like, I've never seen him be so apologetic and excited at the same time.
Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, it's a good. I mean, I saw pictures of it. It was an enjoyable sandwich scarf.
It was, and he's just like, it's so hearty, and like he's like, I'm hungry, and he's like, I'll wear this forever.
Oh, that's lovely.
I like to think of it as score one for feminism.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to share with us?
Just really, I think the biggest thing is that I would like people to remember that a simple gesture, a genuine gesture, can change somebody's life around. Because I'm sure if he didn't say the things that he said to me years ago, I might not be alive. And it was just something simple and exciting that blossomed into like this wonderful thing. And it was all because he made just like a genuine comment and not just, everybody lives with the belief that, misery loves company, so you always need to be happy, or if you're mentally ill, you need to, get yourself out there. But it's more than that. Sometimes you can't get yourself out there, so you need to kind of be the person that you need when you're down, and maybe go out to them or be genuine to them and just make a small effort. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture, but be genuine. Be a genuinely nice human being.
I like that. It's good. You be genuine.
Never tell anyone to knit you a sandwich unless you really are sure you're going to live through that situation. It was touch and go for a little while.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you around. Bye.
Bye.